Hi there, it's Polly here with the Indomitable Initiative Snoots. Yay! And we are off travelling India at the moment. However, I wanted to leave some reviews here of some of the heavier books that I just wasn't going to drag with me on Indian public transport. And in particular, what I really wanted to do for you was The Electric State. This is by Free League. Now, for those of you who have seen Tales from the Loop, this is by essentially the same artist. But this is the very creepy level artwork that some of the stuff from Tales of the Loop had, that this very evocative kind of giant machines, weird drones kind of artwork to it. This is the really creepy end of this. So, this game. First off, as you can see, hardcover, beautifully produced. Very different to a lot of Free League stuff. Now, a lot of the stuff I've joked that a lot of the stuff from Free League makes me kind of want to say, hey, is everything okay at home? Because it's quite dark. This is one of the darkest things you'll ever see, and it's deliciously so. This is not a post-apocalypse game. This is a game of apocalypse occurring. You are in the middle of it. It's happening. It's this hideous, slow death of civilization. You are right in the middle of it, and it's just cascading slowly down. It's this horrendous, basically, civilization just killing itself by suicide. And as such, it's really interesting. The other thing that they've done is they've taken a genre that is really not touched that much in gaming. The road movie. Now, road movies are an actual genre. And if you think of them, what happens? Well, some loners or some drifters or some people who are fairly unfocused or someone who has needs that their current area doesn't supply have to go on a long trip to X, and the journey's the thing. They may not even know their companions. There will be stops on the way where various things will have to be overcome during each of these stops or each of these encounters. People will learn more about themselves, and in the end, although we reach our goal, the journey was kind of the thing, the development in the journey. And of course this spills over into many other kind of genres. You can call all kinds of films, have been inspired by these amazing road movies. This is the game of a road movie. So, mechanic-wise, this is a very simple dice pool system. You have a number of six-sided dice that you are rolling. You get numerical values for your characteristics, and you get numerical values for different skills. Add the two together, that's the number of d6s that you're rolling. You need to get a certain number of hits in order to succeed. Pretty much, I think you'll get a minimal success if you get any hits, but you'll often have more difficult things that require extra task numbers to be met. So this is not a difficult game to learn, and that's the thing. The setting is just beautifully portrayed by this haunting artwork. Now what they've done is they've said that it's an alternative world where somewhere kind of after, or even during Vietnam, a lot of neurotech began to be worked on and discovered. So now it's the 1990s. So they're riffing off a lot of 1990s nostalgia, which is a thing. I guess a lot of people who are younger than me kind of look back to the 90s as their nostalgia era. So it's full of bands and full of things of colourful background material to bring in. But this is diverged because of the appearance of this neurotech, and essentially a wireless cyberscape was created, and it's become more and more powerful. Some massive mega corporations began to dominate that scape, but recently there was a new iteration of the VR headsets that are used for this, and they were literally, it's better than life. These things bring in sight, smell, taste, feel, everything, and way more intense than real life, so that these online environments became more and more hypnotic. So this is a world where civilization is just crumbling because people are just going online. There is amazing artwork here just of towns that have kind of desert sand has been blowing in, no one's been kind of looking after it, and you just see like a car by the side of the road with just wizened corpses just kind of sitting there propped up against the side of the car wearing the headsets where they've just died of dehydration. They just haven't bothered to stir themselves and have just died. Or landscapes where you'll just see a whole town street with scattered bodies or fields. It's a very haunting setting that they've done. So things are crumbling. The mega corporations are making money and that's all they care about. And the fact that this world is withering doesn't bother them a bit. Much like today, as long as a billionaire feels he's the last man standing on top of a giant pile of skulls while the earth burns, that's all they care about. That's what this game is about. It's that process happening. There are some interesting kind of creepy cults and things. There are sort of ghosts in the machine, AI awarenesses that may or may not be there, forming in this massive virtual internet. There are local internet systems, there are others that cross, there are all kinds of different environments. There are AIs and so on that function within them, and some of these might be becoming very, very intelligent. There are cults who believe that God's hidden there, or that you can get immortality by letting go of your body and just becoming a mind in this giant netscape. There are some haunting pictures of giant Titanic drones stomping through the wilderness with hundreds of hard lines going out to people just kind of mindlessly wearing VR sets, just plodding along in its way because this thing just takes them to places. Incredibly evocative stuff. So what they said is that a series of wars and civil wars kind of tore America apart, and they wanted an American setting in particular because they wanted violent lunatics. Enough said. And vicious corporations willing to destroy the world. So everything's really come apart. There are different kind of nations. California's its own nation. The place split. And it gives you a rundown of this history of the tech development, of AI development, and so forth. There are a few spoilers which we won't say here. What you do is you create characters. Now, there are several archetypes they can do to start you off with. You might be kind of the lost veteran. You might be sort of the spiritual journeyist. You just might be the lost kid, the parents looking for a lost child. You could be an agent, someone on the run, etc. You generate your characters fairly simply, but as part of each character you will gain a threat, something that is threatening to you, that's after you. So for instance, you might be a scientist character and you were with a company that figured out a way to stop the addiction to the VR world. There is you've developed a drug to stop the neural receptors that basically make you addicted to this. Now the big corporations want you dead because they don't want this out. They want everyone addicted to it because, they feel they're just selling these headsets and selling their massive setups, and, they don't really care that the world's crumbling because the corporate hubs of places like LA and so on are still going strong. You can still go to your country club and live high on the hog, so that's all they care about. Or you could be a kid that's on the run, but social services are after you. All these different layers of threat as part of your character creation. You choose items to take with you, and of course, people obviously focus on, I want a gun, I want a knife. Great. But on the other hand, you could decide to take a dog, or a photo of some sort of significant event, or a cuddly toy that is significant and meaningful. And there's a reason for this, because there are two little mechanisms that run through this game: hope and bliss. You have hope. as things happen to you, you lose hope. As you face horrendous cruelties, as you see bleak things like, a whole town that's just died of dehydration because they were just sitting there on the internet, you will lose hope. If your friends get injured or die, you will lose hope. If things that you're connected to are damaged and destroyed, you will lose hope. And if you ever completely lose hope, you're not allowed to make rolls. So you can't make rolls to see if skills and so on succeed. Cute little mechanism there, keep your hope up. But there are some things that replenish hope. Getting out at a stop and playing with your dog, that replenishes hope. Looking at that photo of your loved ones replenishes hope. Playing that album that you adore replenishes hope. Going out and finding some sort of cool thing that you connect with, some amazing place. You find a waterfall, you find that album from that band that you love. You find that amazing classic car that you've always dreamed of, just abandoned by the road. These things can build up hope. But the hope mechanism is very central to play. You've got to keep an eye on your hope and keep it going up. In many ways, hope is way more important than, fighting skills. The other thing is bliss. The way the scenarios are set up, there will be moments when you may absolutely have to go into the VR universe in order to find information, to track down things, to track down people, to check out, security cameras, all the things in a cool cyberpunk adventure that you would use this for. But that environment gives you bliss. The umpire can just hit you with it as you come into some areas. It just hits you with bliss. Because that's amazing. Wow, that's just so stunning. Or this thing has just accessed your files and it's recreated this perfect existence. Those friends and family of yours that are dead, those gamers that used to hang out long ago, you're back around the games table with them all. It's just the way it was back when you were 22. When nothing was complex, everything was fine. You get hit with bliss. Also, if you're attempting to do things in the Netscape and fail, you get given bliss. If ever the bliss is higher than your hope, then you will not voluntarily come out of the virtual world. And you will actively fight anyone that tries to get you to do it. But you will just stay in there until you just die of dehydration. Someone else will have to get you out. So again, quite a bleak world. How the thing is set up is, as I said, as a road movie. So the idea is there is a journey taking from A to B. Now they have a map of Pacifica, which is kind of California, Oregon, whatever. So you got maps of these sorts of things here, nicely done with road networks and yada squee. Just to help you out and showing you what different kind of nations are around there. There are big borders. Now there's been a huge war fought with massive drones. Many of whom have, smiley faces on them. So this is a landscape that's been wrecked by war, just devastated. And then these kind of rusting drones, battleship-sized drones, just sort of, monument valleys full of them. They're looming beside highways. They're like looming over small towns and villages, rusting to bits. Or not, because some of them might still be operable and someone might take them over and move them around. But you have a journey which is going to take you from A to B. The party gets together. They have transport of some sort. Now they presume it's going to be a car of some sort. There's random things for generating the car, how crappy it is, how good it is, etc. You could be on horseback though. Hell, you could be on bicycles. But there are different ways that you might want to do this. And the actual moments when you're on the road are really just links between action. What's important are stops. Stops are when you plan and you to come to a point in your journey and stop, or when you are made to stop. So you reach a town and it's like, we need fuel. You come into a settlement and it's getting dark. All right, are you stopping here, or are you going to drive through the settlement and just try sleeping in the car? You know, these are decision points you have to, or are you just going to try and pull through at night? However, you know, there's no lights here and the road's dangerous because sand has blown in, drifts over it because no one maintains the stuff anymore. So these are encounter points, but they're also forced encounters. You come barreling around a corner and there's a vehicle just blocking the entire road, or there's cops who've set up some sort of roadblock, or you know, there's some fighting going on, or someone's decided to fortify the whole thing, or there's been there's a whole sand dune right over the highway. Crap. But you did see a side road a way back that seems to lead through some little podunk settlement. Maybe you can go around this block. These are all things that lead you into action. Each stop is basically an adventure location where things will happen. Each stop has its own threat. It has something there that's going on, something there that can draw you in and threaten the characters. It might be that this place is actually a cult where, say, these people are like, decided that, you know, they've discovered, you know, God in the machine, and that, you know, outsiders have to be assimilated or destroyed, you know. Or it could be that there's, you know, some kind of group of strongman assholes who've taken over this place and are trying to, you know, just the moment you stop, they'll strip your vehicle and herd you off to try and use you as slave labour. Or you could turn up and it's like, you know, yeah, there's food and supplies, but everyone's gone, and then you might discover signs that there's some sort of plague here these people have been hit with, and you might have it. Or, you know, 101 different strange things that you can do, and they've got some really good examples and generators in here for coming up with these. Within these stops also, the threats that the characters themselves have generated will begin to turn up. And these are staggered. The umpire is asked to basically make a clock, a threat clock for each of these things that shows how that threat is advancing. So let us say one of you guys was a criminal and they just walked out of jail. The guards were just standing around with headsets on. No one cared. No one gave you guys any food. No one seemed to actually be on guard. So you just like walked out. But officially, you know, you were a prisoner. So the threat is that officially you're a prisoner, and someone might finally have noticed and put out a, you know, APB on you guys. So the clock for that might be a police car kind of goes past and sort of like the police kind of look in your windows as they go past. Just a level 1 thing to give that character a bit of anxiety, what's going on. Then a next layer thing might be police roadblock up ahead, and these guys start running IDs, and yeah, they got a thing to arrest you. If you escape from that, the next layer thing is, yeah, they put on a serious APB and said this person is in this area. So now there's, you know, armed police out there trying to actually get you. These are the escalating levels. Likewise, you know, if you had that kid that has, you know, child services trying to look for them because they're going to rehome them, but you're out there trying to find your parents who were like separated from you in the war or whatever, or find your long lost uncle that you're sure, you know, he always said he was going to hole up in the mountains in so and so, and this amazing something or other Springs place. It's the paradise lost that you want to try and get to. You will have staged things there as different agents are coming after you, people trying to arrest you, so on. You can use your skills in combat, but also in persuasion and whatever to maybe turn these threats around, show them that this isn't the, you know, you don't want to arrest me, I'm helping people, or, you know, we've got to work together to save this. But the structure of it is the first stops should be quite civilized, as in there's a lot of settlement and kind of people, and it gets worse as it goes on. And this is actually a script writing technique, you know, called either the squeeze or the wasteland, depending on who you listen to, but basically is letting you know that this whole world is getting worse and worse as you find a more and more desolate world as you move on. And so the pace of the adventures is done quite well. You decide how many stops it's going to be. You develop your character. At the end of any given stop, after you've completed that adventure, you can gain points that are used to improve your character. But at some point during the journey, you can say that you have faced your inner demons, you have overcome your flaws. Because when you design each character, you design some flaws that go with it. If you have role-played out that you have somehow overcome these flaws, fought past them, you may say, I have faced my fears, overcome my flaws. Then you get a massive amount of points to improve your character right there and then, but there is no more character improvement for this journey. So you kind of got to pick your moment on that one. You might want to do, some normal character advancement for, if you figure the umpire's maybe got a 7 or 8 stop adventure for you, or maybe you want to do 4 or 5 things where you do normal advancement, and then on the 6th one, yes, I'm going to do the big character advancement. Playing to your flaws and so on gets you points for experience, etc. If you've completed this campaign of a set number of stops, you can of course go on and do another journey. This can be an ongoing campaign, and you can start off doing more character improvement in those ways in the next journey as well. But you will have developed new flaws. If you have beaten your flaws, you will have sort of found new ones. Yes, you got to your Paradise Lost and you found that it's like, it wasn't what you thought it would be. It's just sort of hollow. It's these people pretending whatever. Okay, so what's your flaw now? Ennui. Or cynicism or something like that. That's the next thing you've got to try and bust past. It's an interesting emotional journey game. It's really, really well done. I really can't emphasize how well done this is. This is a great, and this artwork is just stunning. Just these amazing pictures. Let's see if I can find some for you, but just of wrecked worlds. Like they did like a boulevard of broken dreams, which I really like. You've got enemies, humans, enemies that are controlling drones and so forth. You've got nature closing in, the erosion of man's works, the mega corporations and so on, the blind population in these moneyed areas that just don't care that the world's burning. It really is this apocalypse in motion. In fact, to an extent where I would actually advise you not to run this for anyone that's in the middle of a fit of depression, because it's like this is probably the best horror game I've seen, because it is erosion horror. The world is disintegrating and no one cares. There's that dog in the room that's on fire. Now, the other thing that they've done is they have put in a umpireless system for this. So this can be used either for a group of people who just want to play as characters with no games master or mistress, or you can play it solo, where you create a character and put them through a story. You use an ordinary deck of cards and some dice. They have some oracle guidelines here for setting up blocks and threats and encounters and so forth. So you can actually, there are guidelines here for a cooperative storytelling style where you play the journey as the travelers. And as I said, you can do it solo, which is a really interesting idea. It's right there in this book. There is a really good adventure campaign in this. It's not an entire campaign. They've given you the first few stops on a longer journey with guidelines, obviously, for making the rest of it your own, with pre-generated characters, with pre-generated threats and plot arcs and so on in it. It's a very well done one, and it does show you that thing where these first adventures are like going into a relatively urban area where things seem like they're okay, and then things are degenerating more as you go on. So it gives you that as a great guideline for creating your own works for it. Okay, so I've said obviously you can set this anywhere you want. You don't have to put this in America, but greedy, vicious corporations and governments that care nothing for their people and absolute murderous psychopaths are essentially almost an American monopoly. So yeah, great way of doing that. Despite the Mad Max movies, This wouldn't work in Australia. We come into this half-decayed town. Good, everyone comes over to help you. What? G'day, mate. How you going? What? Oh, car's looking a bit crook. Roll her in there. I'll see if I can tune her up for you. Just doesn't work for an apocalypse, does it? But you could certainly take maps for particularly other products that Free League has done. So if you wanted to do a Central Europe thing, you could run this using the Twilight 2000 maps and so on. Like I said, there's a layer of 90s nostalgia all the way through this, so they have put in like playlists. Part of doing your character is put down a couple of your favourite songs from the period. Put down what's your favourite movie of the period. They have big lists there to choose from. And of course they sort of suggest that, hey, the Empire might want to run some of this stuff in the background. So there is like a layer of kind of 90s nostalgia to put it into that kind of context and disassociate it from this world as we are a little bit, and move it that 30 odd years back in the past. So look, this is an excellent piece of work. I've liked what Free League does. They have like one pretty simple game system and they stick to it. So the game system in this is no big surprise. It's the same one that they've used in Twilight 2000 and everything else. But that hope and bliss mechanism is great. That beautiful mechanism where if your bliss is ever higher than your hope, then you just trail off into the virtual world and won't come out unless someone else intervenes, and you'll fight them to stop them. It's like, that's a very clever mechanism. Keeping your hope up is a great thing. So the combat wombats can get out there. I'm equipping my character. I'm taking a shotgun and Bowie knives and this and that. Where someone else has gone out there equipped with a cuddly toy and Zim their pet corgi, and it's like, one of those people will survive, and it's probably not the one with the guns, because he's probably going to wander off into the internet and just be another one of those husks you see beside the road. Yeah, this is a spectacularly good piece of work. For once, the artwork is its core, and the artwork tells this tale of this world caught in apocalypse, and it does it beautifully. It's evocative artwork, it's beautiful artwork. It puts a shiver up your spine as you look at it. It's this world that's lost itself, and it's up to you as you run the game. If you do big long campaigns, of course, maybe you guys are the ones that can turn it around. There is resistance there trying to destroy the corporations, destroy the online world, blow up the towers, reclaim the earth. Hell, maybe this is the tale you want to tell, or maybe it isn't. Maybe you want the people who go off, escape all that and start their own lives somewhere else and let these guys just decay and die, or what have you. The world's yours in this game. Make of it as you will. The Electric State. Truly a fabulous piece of work. It is a joy to see a game where the artwork is an integral player in making the game work for you. There are some wonderfully horrific images, like this giant drone waving to you outside of through a barn door and everything. No, keep driving. Creepy as hell. So it's a post-apocalypse game. It's a horror game. Brilliant. A lovely piece of work. So I really wanted to do this one for you guys. We are still traveling, as you will see. I'm hopefully I'm posting updates from India, Demi Live, as Mr. Snoots and I travel to some wacky places, which hopefully you guys will enjoy seeing bits and pieces of, because I'm exploring some cool stuff. I hope we meet around a games table sometime, and until then, look after yourselves. Cheers, everybody. Bye.